اظن انا عرفت انه محمد حجاب جاء بعد ما حسن نبي سوى له الرياكشن. عرفت 22 دقيقة. خلنا نخش على محمد حجاب. ليتس جو ليتس جو.
Welcome back. Last week I interviewed the Daily Wire's Ben Shapiro on the crisis in Israel.
المقابل حق بن شفيرو كان مسوي زعلان وقاعد يتكلم كيف بطريقة انه عرفت لازم نمحيهم وجواده. عرفت. نتسي بن شفيرو هذا احد الاوجيز في الريد بيل كوميونيتي. if you don't know now you know. الشباب اللي خاشين في موضوع البلو بيل والريد بيل والالفا ميل والبيتا ميل والسيجما والجو هذا البوس حق الريد بيل. فهمت علي؟ وكثار من الريد بيلز يعني طلعوا وجيههم الحقيقية. فهمت علي؟ بعد ما بدأت الفتنة هذه، وأولهم بن شابيرو والبوس الثاني جوردن بيترسون. اندرو تيت هو الوحيد اللي سوى اوريدي كنا عارفين انه بيكون مع فلسطين، بس انا انصدمت من جوردن بيترسون صراحة. عرفت بالذات يوم حط التويت هذيك، يوم كتب give them hell. عرفت اعطوهم جهنم حرفيا كذا. فهمت علي؟ رسالة للإسرائيليين. let's go.
Israel. This powerful emotional analysis made headlines around the world. 5 million people have watched that interview so far, a measure of the enormous emotion and division this conflict has awoken. Well, among those viewers was Mohammed Hijab, the controversial pro-Palestine influencer with nearly 1 million YouTube subscribers of his own. Here's what he had to say about him.
Do you think Piers Morgan, on fair grounds, would try and speak to me about an issue like this? Or Ben Shapiro, when they know what I'm going to come with? Absolutely not. Don't pretend you don't know who I am. You've been watching my videos. You know what I'm about. Your silence is deafening. And your cowardice is apparent.
Well, Mohammed Hijab joins me now. Mohammed, thank you very much for coming in. I hadn't actually watched your videos. I have now. I've watched a few of them. I'm aware you've got a massive following. You've got nearly 1 million YouTube subscribers. You're an influential person. And you have a lot to say about this issue, obviously. So I thank you for coming in. But I'm not too cowardly to talk to you. I don't have a horse in this race. I think I've tried to straddle a divide of being fair-minded with all sides. I've had all voices on the show.
I commend you for that, actually, to be honest, for bringing me on. But do realise I did caveat that with on fair ground. So let's hope that this interview is conducted.
I intend to be completely fair.
Yeah, sure.
I promise you, because all I want to get to here is a real sense of what is going to happen. We can all look back at. We can all look. Let me just. We can all look back.
Before that, Piers.
Yeah.
Sorry, if you want to say fair grounds, you introduced me as a Palestinian controversial.
I actually corrected myself.
Right. So
I said pro-Palestinian. I meant to say pro-Palestinian.
So why did the word controversial come into play?
I think you're controversial.
So are you.
Yeah, I wouldn't deny
So is
that.
the ambassador. Why didn't you introduce her in that manner?
I'm happy to say that to many people, her views would be controversial.
So why didn't you introduce me as the Oxford graduate?
Do you want to be introduced as that?
Yes.
Okay. Or an Oxford graduate.
Go ahead.
Okay.
محمد حجاب.
Do you want to be introduced as that?
Yes.
Okay. Or an Oxford graduate.
Go ahead.
Okay.
ما حتى ما قال له ثانك يو، قال يلا جو اهيد.
No problem. You can be introduced as anything you like, frankly. It makes no difference to the debate. Let me ask you this. Where were you when you heard about what happened on October the 7th?
I was at home.
What was your reaction when you heard?
I was actually very sickened by it. And this is something I do want to put on the table because I think it's fair for people to know this. In our religion, we do not believe, okay, as a Muslim, I am a Muslim, and I do not believe in the killing of any man, woman, or children, non-combatants. That is not despite the religious teachings. That is because of the religious teachings. So in terms of condemning Hamas, and just jumping straight into it, I condemn not only Hamas, but any other entity, okay, wherein it's proven that this has been done, that the killing of combatants has been done. Therein, I condemn any party that does it. Any party that kills people or strikes at people where it's more probable than not that it will hit a civilian target, I condemn them. And that's why I condemn the IDF. Because when they strike, they know that it's more probably than not going to hit civilian targets. They know that the majority of civilians, or the majority of people that are going to be affected, are civilians. We know that from the various operations that have been conducted. We know that because now in Gaza you find that there is a blockade, as you know, for 17 years. But also they're stopping them from electricity, water, which is a war crime under Geneva 4 of the Geneva Convention,
Facts.
Protocol 4 of the Geneva Convention. So this is something I'm surprised you didn't actually mention to the ambassador. But
I did mention it.
You didn't say so.
ما شفت المقابلة اللي مع السفير، بس سمعت وقريت على تويتر انه كان يسأله أسئلة، ليش تسووا كذا، ليش سويتوا كذا. ما كان يسأله مثلا ايش رايك في اللي سووه مثلا IDF او جيش الدفاع الاسرائيلي. ما سأل عن IDF، فهمت عليك؟ بس كان يسأل فهمت عليك؟ تحس كذا كان هي كورنرينج، كان كذا يحطه في الزاوية، عرفت، يضغط عليه يعني بطريقة حتى لو يعني تحس انه ما فيها فايدة، فهمت علي؟ الإجابة عنه ما راح تفيد بشيء يعني أبدا.
War crime.
Well, I think it's an arguable point whether it's a war crime.
Okay, let me ask you.
Arguable point if it was a war crime. اللي سووه IDF نقطة قابلة للنقاش إذا كانت جريمة حرب. بس هناك ليست قابلة للنقاش، صح؟ أوكي.
They are saying Israel, at the moment, Israel is adamant they are not breaching war crimes, right? It will be determined. It will be determined whether that's the case.
No, sorry. That's incorrect.
Mohammed, let me make a point to you back on that. I think surely we can agree that what happened on October the 7th was a war crime. I mean, when people are taking grandmothers and executing them, kidnapping young children, when they're killing babies in their cribs, we can agree that's war crime, right?
Okay, babies.
Can we?
Surely, of course, 100%.
Right.
But babies in the crib. Sorry, what was the evidence for that?
You don't believe that happened?
Sorry, CNN, the White House, Sky News, which you work for, all say something.
I don't work for Sky News.
Well, your thing.
I did work at CNN. I saw one reporter who retracted it because she wasn't sure about the source.
It's unconfirmed by the White House.
But then the Daily Telegraph and the Jerusalem Post and other sources then did publish pictures
CNN,
which indisputably show babies have been killed.
No, it showed one baby who's been charred, and that picture has been put up on Twitter and has been refuted by many people saying that it's actually AI.
That's completely untrue.
That is true. What's your source? What's your source?
There's been a thorough investigation into the claim that was put up there by some rogue person on Twitter that it was AI. It has been completely disproven.
Okay, let me ask you a question.
That picture, which was published on the Telegraph, is a genuine, legitimate picture.
What is your source?
Are you seriously arguing that babies weren't killed?
No, I didn't say that.
Well, what are you saying?
I'm saying, give me a source.
Yeah.
You know full well you've been fired from the Daily Mirror for fake images. So you.
Oh my. So هذا قاعد يحاول يعني يعدي نقطة انه في اطفال انقتلوا من الجانب الكيان، بلس شيء كذا بونس انهم كان متفهم، واحد منهم كان متفهم، صح؟ حجاب قاعد يقول له اوكي اتفق معك انه هذه جريمة، بس التفحم والحرق تم ضحده من البيت الابيض. قال له كيف تقول الكلام مو بصحيح؟ قال له واتس يور سورس، اللي هو ايش هو المرجع حقك، من وين جبت المعلومة هذه؟ قاعدين يدوروا كذا في دائرة، فهمت علي؟ بدل ما يقفل الموضوع ويقولوا اوكي يس داس يعني الموضوع غلط انه اطفال ينقتلوا، واتس نيكست، يلا وروا، لانه ايش المقابلة 22 دقيقة، فال 22 دقيقة اوريدي 5 دقائق منها في نقطة واحدة، فهمت علي؟ وساحبين على النقطة الأهم، فهمت علي؟ اللي هي الحرب هذه كيف راح تنتهي، فهمت علي؟ ومين الغلطان فيها في النهاية يعني.
You know full well about the
I didn't accept they were faked.
Exactly, the UK government did.
Yeah, they did. Because the UK government, just to be clear, had waged, in my view, an illegal war in Iraq.
So you're allowed to go against the government, and I'm not allowed to go against the Israeli government.
Of course you're allowed to.
So tell me now, what's the source?
You seem to be making a lot of presumptions about me, Mohammed.
Yes, because you had softball questions for your ambassador of a great friend.
No, they weren't. I put all the questions to the ambassador. I was editor of the Daily Mirror when we opposed the Iraq war on the grounds that I believed it was an illegal war. I still believe that to this day. I think it stained this country.
Fantastic.
I don't think you even knew that.
I did know that.
Right.
But that's not the point I was making. I was making
بيرس مورغان دائما لما ينحشر يجيب نقطة انه كان ضد الحرب في العراق. عرفت نظام؟ هي ترى انا صاحبك، انا معاك، انا معاك وكل شيء. وعلى فكرة زمان لما بدأت الحرب حق العراق انا انا كنت ضدها. طيب هذا ما له دخل في اللي قاعد نتكلم فيه حاليا نحن قاعد نتكلم عن حرب ثانية، صح؟ لا، حرب مختلفة. ليش انت قاعد يعني you're condemning حماس؟ كلنا قاعدين we're condemning حماس يعني، بس ما قاعد تدي ل IDF نفس ال condemnation، صح ولا لا؟
Making the point that if you're allowed to go against a government in their classification of an image, then if you have pro-Palestinian activists who are saying, actually, we need to see a source, shouldn't they be entitled to that?
The Daily Telegraph published on page 3.
Should they be entitled to that, yes
you're
or no?
talking about, the Daily
Should they be
Telegraph
entitled to that, yes or
said
no?
they had independently verified
they be
the picture, Mohammed.
No, excuse me.
If you're saying that their
Primary source
verification is
material.
wrong...
No, excuse me. Primary source in academia, I know you've done a journalism degree, which is, frankly, is not relevant to what we're talking about here anyway.
Probably is to journalism, yeah.
No, it's not to this conflict, but we academics require primary source evidence in order to make it.
The Daily Telegraph said.
Evidence?
The Daily Telegraph said they verified the picture.
That's a secondary source.
Fine. You may say
that's secondary source.
You may say
that's a secondary source.
Well, you may say you don't think it's genuine. I don't agree with you. But the wider point.
That was my.
معلش انا لاحظت انه الكيك انفصل من هناك، صح ولا لا؟ انفصل ورجع مرة ثانية. اللي قاعدين في الكيك انا شايف في 3 اشخاص، ما ادري 4 اشخاص. تعالوا على التويتش، اوكي. شكل الموضوع ما تصلح، الموضوع ما تصلح. نفس اليوزر نيم موديلا 15 تلقوني هناك على التويتش اذا انت اوريدي مو موجود هناك. اوكي، شكرا لتفهمكم، نشوفكم في تويتش. باي باي كيك. Okay. He was with Iraq people. He can't be bad person. شايف المنطق؟ بس هذا القصد اياه. هذا يعني انا كنت على فكرة مع العراقيين على فكرة، بس لذلك therefore انا ما مستحيل اكون ضدك يعني، فهمت علي؟ بس على فكرة انا ادين حماس بس ما اقدر ادين الاي دي اف. ليش؟ يقول لك قابل للنقاش. وات؟ المشكلة بيرس مورغان قاعد يقابل ناس كثار، فهمت علي؟ وممكن 80% منهم مع الجانب الفلسطيني، صح ولا لا؟ فهو تقريبا اكثر واحد يعني استضاف ناس مع الفلسطينيين. لو تلاحظ المقابلات الثانية ممكن ديموكراسي توداي القناة هذيك كمان قاعد تقابل ناس كذا مور بروتل، فهمت علي؟ ويتكلموا عن اشياء شوية، فهمت علي؟ او مدة كمان اطول من نص ساعة ولا 20 دقيقة، فهمت علي؟ ف قاعد احاول افهم ايش قاعد يسوي. هل هو قاعد يكون يسوي حركة موديلا اللي هي محامي الشيطان، ولا ايش قاعد يسوي؟ فهمت علي؟ لانه قاعد يجيب ناس وقاعد يسألوا أسئلة كذا، عرفت؟ ترفع الضغط، بس تحس I don't know. Let's just continue.
It's a secondary source.
Well, you may say you don't think.
ايوه، قاعد يقول انه الصورة حق المتفحم هذاك الطفل المتفحم ما عندها اي مصدر، فقال له ديلي ميل تقريبا. دقيقة معلش انا الكيك شوية فصلني، معلش.
Degree, which is frankly is not relevant to what we're talking about here anyway.
Probably is to journalism, yeah.
No, it's not to this conflict, but we academics require primary source evidence in order to make it.
The Daily Telegraph.
اوكي، هم عايزين يعرفوا انه الصورة هذيك اي ولا لا. انا مصدق انها اي صراحة، حتى لو تحط الصورة في اوبتيك اي بيوريك انه ترى الصورة هذه اي، فهمت علي؟
The Daily Telegraph said they verified the picture.
That's a secondary source.
Fine. You may say
that's secondary source.
You may say
that's a secondary source.
Well, you may say you don't think it's genuine. I don't agree with you. But the wider point.
That was my point.
But
I said I want a source. I just want to see the evidence.
What we're arguing about here, you're not contesting that babies were killed.
No, I'm saying I want to see the evidence.
So why are you picking on the semantics of the veracity of one picture,
It's not.
which has been verified by British journalists? Why are you picking on that?
British journalists are
some
not an
example of
authority.
somehow this wasn't as bad as it seems.
British journalists are not an academic authority. You know that full well. You've been fired from Daily Mirror for that very purpose. What I'm saying to you is this: putting this
قاعد يذكر انه انت انطردت من الديلي ميرور عشان نشرت يوم كنت صحفي نشرت صورة مفبركة. فانت تعرف انه المصدر مهم، والديلي ميرور مو بمصدر ثاني، مو مكتوب بمصدر ثاني ثانوي، صح في مصدر رئيسي اولي ومصدر ثانوي. فقاعد يقول له الجرايد هذه مصدر ثانوي، اعطني مصدر اولي.
issue to the side. I think you're trying to use this as a red herring to move away from the
What
bigger
red
issues.
herring?
This is a red herring because already 1,023 children have been killed in Gaza. That's why. And you didn't ask the ambassador that question.
I literally asked the ambassador.
No,
I said 3,000 people have already been killed in a week
Sure,
in Gaza.
but you didn't ask her whether
did
she
you even
did
listen
you
to my
condemn it?
interview with the ambassador?
I did listen, but excuse me.
Well, don't put words in my
No, hold
mouth
on.
or say I didn't ask a question.
Let me ask you a question. Do you condemn the killing of those children by the IDF?
I tell you what I condemn.
Yes or no?
I'm going to
يس اور نو برو. هل تدين قتل الاطفال الفلسطينيين ايوه ولا لا؟ يو
Condemn the killing of those children by the IDF.
I tell you what I condemn.
يا الله.
Yes or no?
I'm going to answer your question honestly and truthfully.
Sure.
And because I've tweeted about this, right?
Okay.
I think that what happened on October the 7th was one of the worst atrocities I have ever had to read about or watch on
It
video.
happens every day in Palestine.
No.
So why do you care?
ايوه ولا لا؟ انا بقول لك بكل صدق اذا ادينا ولا ما ادينا. اللي حصل يوم 7/10، اللي صار في 7/10 اسوأ شيء صار، اسوأ شيء صار من يوم ما صرت صحفي. ايوه ولا لا؟ يس اور نو؟
I have ever had to read about or watch on
It
video.
happens every day in Palestine.
No.
So why do you care about that?
It
one
actually
so much?
doesn't. It doesn't.
It does actually,
No.
yes.
No. The Israeli forces.
I've got the stats for that.
Israeli forces do not go.
Cast-led,
Wait a minute,
protective
Mohammed.
edge. Go and check it out.
Mohammed. Israeli forces.
Cast-led, protective edge.
Israeli forces don't go into Gaza on one day and grab grandmothers and kill babies in their
excuse
beds.
me. Okay.
And
No, hold on.
Rape and abuse
So,
women.
rape, is there any evidence for that?
It's been multiple reports in multiple mainstream media publications. Well, you're going to sit here and deny everything.
No,
right?
I'm not denying anything.
You are.
No, I accept that some civilians have been killed. I do accept this. And I already said
You don't believe any of the reports that women were raped?
No, I didn't say that. I said that it's still to be
Do you
verified.
think they were raped?
No, I don't know. It's like the Russell Brand thing. You said we don't know. We need to see the evidence. So why do you apply two different
not.
standards?
I'm saying it's been reported.
When it's Israel, we know they're raped. When it's Russell Brand, you don't know because it's your friend.
No, it's been reported by legitimate news sources.
When it's Israel, you know they're raped. But when it's Russell Brand, you don't know.
Them.
When it's Russell Brand, you don't know if
There's
they're
no
raped.
comparison between Russell Brand and what's happened
It's the same thing. It's a rape allegation. Why are you stuttering?
I'm not stuttering.
You are stuttering. You don't have anything
You're
to say.
contesting every single thing that I'm saying.
Yeah, that's
and I'm
the
saying
point
to
of
you,
an argument.
at the end, 1,300 people were brutally
2,000
murdered,
people have been killed on the other side.
abused.
2,000 people have been killed on the
I
other
said
side.
that to the ambassador.
Okay, but do you condemn that, yes or no?
I don't think.
So you refuse to condemn?
No.
You do refuse to condemn?
Why are you putting words in my mouth?
Because you're not condemning it, are you?
What do you want me to condemn?
Condemn?
Israel's
Okay.
right.
What you want me to condemn؟ لي ساعة يقول لك هل تدين اللي صار هناك ولا لا؟ برو يو الانجليز ترى مين اللي حصل تعامل مع انجليزي؟ اصعب شيء، اصعب كوميونيكيشن بين بشر هو بين اي انسان، اي بشري مع انجليزي. يا اخي عينك تطلع لين ما تثبت النقطة حقك. ويا ريت لو المشكلة مشكلة انه مصادر ولا مو مصادر، نو المشكلة مشكلة كيف مخهم كذا متحجر، فهمت علي؟
Why are you putting words in my mouth?
Because you're not condemning it, are you?
What do you want me to condemn? Israel's
Okay,
right.
excellent. What do I want you to condemn?
Yes.
I want you to condemn the fact that the IDF, knowing that it's more probable than not, pressing buttons from the sky, killing innocent civilians, 1,000 of them children, that is a war crime and that is not acceptable morally. Just like you condemn the other one. Is it condemnable or not?
I believe, given the scale of what Hamas did on October the 7th, Israel is entitled to
kill
defend.
children.
No, it's not what I said.
Go ahead.
They're entitled.
I think what انه اللي سووه حماس يوم 7/10 عطى الحقية للاي دي اف انه هي عطل دي اعتقد بنظر الى حجم فعلته حماس في 2000 في 7 اكتوبر يعطيهم الحقية صح؟
The 7th.
Go ahead,
Israel is entitled to
يحق لها يا اخي ليه قاطع ليه ما خلاه يكمل الجملة حقه
given the scale of what Hamas did on October the 7th,
Go ahead,
Israel is entitled
To kill
defend-
children.
No, that's not what I said.
Go ahead.
They're entitled to defend themselves with force.
Okay,
Then
excellent.
the question becomes
اوكي اليوم الحق انهم يدافعوا عن نفسهم بالقوة. اوكي محمد حجاب خليه اتمنى انه يسكت شوي، اتمنى يخليه يسكت شوي لانه اجين بريطاني لما يدوك جواب يقول لك اتس نوت يس اور نو كويستشن انسر قصدي، وبعدين يديك كذا باراجراف انتروداكشن فهمت علي، بعدين يديك البودي، بعدين يعطيك الكونكلوجن، بعدين يديك الكلوزنج فهمت علي، يعطيك كذا اسي فهمت علي، يراوغ اكثر من ميسي. ما جربتش تتعامل مع امريكان، هم اغبياء غباء مش طبيعي. لا مو قصدي في كلام منطقي فهمت علي كذا كل واحد يحاول يثبت نقطته، هو لين ما يثبت نقطته ترى انت مستحيل كلامك يخش راسه فهمت علي، راسه كذا يقفل. يا بني ادم جاوب على السؤال يقهر.
That's not what I said.
Go ahead.
They're entitled to defend themselves with force.
Okay,
Then
excellent.
the question becomes, Mohammed,
Okay.
it's an interesting debate.
Sure.
If, as it seems to
Sure.
me, you believe too,
Go on.
Hamas are not a force for good. Do you believe that?
Well, I think that anybody who kills children
حماس is not a force of good. حماس ليست قوة يعني قوة خيرية.
For good.
أعتقد أن هذا حماس ليس قوة من أجل الخير. can't agree. أوكي هل تعتقد
Do you believe that?
well, I think that anybody who kills children and those elements of Hamas who are killing children.
Right, so we can
are not-
agree.
أوكي أيوة so we agree.
So we agree.
Go
So my
ahead,
point
finish
is,
your point.
if Israel's purpose is to rid the world of Hamas after the atrocity of October the 7th,
Sure.
how do they do that, given that Hamas embeds itself in civilian areas in the way that it does? Everyone knows that in Gaza.
Okay.
How do they do that
Excellent.
in this surgically clean way that you seem to think
Yeah.
they should be doing?
Okay, can I say
أوكي فهمت سؤاله أتمنى يجاوب، أتمنى باقي ال 12 دقيقة هذه إن شاء الله يجاوب على السؤال هذا أهم سؤال، هذا السؤال اللي كل الغرب حابين إنهم يعرفوا فهمت علي؟ يا رب حجاب لا إن شاء الله ما يكون معاه أكاديمي ويكون معاه عرفت نظام where is your source وجو زي كذا، يجاوب على السؤال هذا. كيف الاي دي اف يقدروا يستأصلوا حماس من دون ما يقتلوا مدنيين؟ سؤال صريح مستر حجاب please do your job.
How do they do that
Excellent.
in this surgically clean way that you seem to think
Yeah.
they should be doing?
Okay, can I say-
How do you not kill civilians?
Beautiful. Can I
I
ask-
don't like any civilian death.
Do you mind if I answer
I
the
don't
question?
endorse any civilian death.
Well, no.
Do
You
I
don't condemn it though.
Hang
do you?
on.
Yeah.
خليه يكمل.
No, and here's why. Because I support Israel's right to defend
Okay.
itself.
Beautiful.
Now,
اوكي هذا شيء منطقي من شخص من الغرب فهمت علي، مو من ديننا، مو فاهم شيء. الغرب عامة احنا اتفقنا من 600 مليون ستريم سويناه انه بعد اللي شفناه فهمت علي هم اوريدي لا شعوريا اوتوماتيكيا مع الكيان صح لا، بسبب ايش؟ الحكومات حاليا الشعب صاير يتحول من جهة الكيان للجانب الفلسطيني. اوكي وصلت بليز محمد حجاب don't disappoint us.
Can I say
no,
something?
one more point. Then
Go
you
ahead.
can reply.
Sure.
But the question then becomes, what is proportionate?
Okay.
What is a proportionate response?
Okay.
I don't have the answer.
Excellent.
Because I don't know what a proportionate response to 1,300 murders is. When 260 young people at a music festival, most of them peace-loving people enjoying themselves at a festival,
All of them
when they
killed.
get slaughtered by people
Is there any
paragliding
evidence all of them
in
were
with
killed?
machine guns, I don't know what the proportionate response is.
Piers, let me respond to
So
you,
can you
please.
tell me?
You've spoken for about 2 minutes. You didn't do that with the ambassador. By the way, I'm just showing you're saying fair, but you're not being fair.
I've said what I
okay,
wanna say.
so let me paint a
I will
picture.
be fair.
Sure.
I'm genuinely interested in what
Fine.
you have to
All
say.
right, excellent. You're from Irish descent. You know that there was an IRA
Yes.
in Belfast and so on. Okay, so let me ask you a question now. If there was IRA in Belfast and there were occupying council properties and so on, and then we have a plane of RAF going to destroy that council property, destroy all of Belfast, flatten it, as one representative said, got live. The IDF said that. One of the IDF members said that we will flatten it completely. That's what we want to do. We don't care about accuracy, he said. We care about damage. That's what he said. You didn't question her about that. But anyway, if the RAF were to then go into Belfast and flatten, as the IDF and these guys want to do, if they want to flatten Belfast with all the white people, I'm going to use the term white, all the white people, council estates living in there, with the excuse that we're doing it because it's proportionate defense to the terrorists. What would you say about that?
Here's what I was
اوكي، هذا تاريخ انجليزي، هذا تاريخ الصراع الانجليزي بين ايرلند وبريطانيا، تمام؟ عشان يدخلوهم في المملكة حقهم. تقريبا كان في حركات مقاومة هناك في ايرلندا. اوكي زي ما يوم المقاومة في ايرلندا ضربت المجلس، فالبريطانيين قالوا راح نمسح بلفاست هذه مدينة تقريبا في ايرلندا، وراح نسويها بالارض كلها كرد. نفس اللي قاعد يصير حاليا بعد 150 سنة او قريب 100 سنة، نفس اللي قاعد يصير حاليا. فهل تشوف انت هذا الشيء الحركة صحيحة ولا لا؟ اوكي وبيرس صح، بيرس اصله ايرلندي. اوكي يعني حطاه بموقع الايرلنديين الناسا يعني اصله لما كانوا يواجهوا البريطانيين. فايش كنت بتسوي؟ هل راح تضربهم كلهم، ولا راح تمسح فيهم الارض كلهم، ولا تقتل بس المقاومة؟ وجوابه بيتماشى مع الحاصل حاليا. محمد حجاب مفروض ما يديه اللفة هذه كلها، بس اوكي وصلت. هو بيرس مورغان يحب الأسئلة الطويلة. ده مش فيلم مارفل، ما فيش حاجة اسمها خير والشر، دول حاجة نسبية. لكن في حاجة اسمها الحق وباطل، دول واضحين للكل ما عدا المغيب اللي معمل او اللي مطنش الحقيقة قاصد.
would say to you.
Is that acceptable or unacceptable?
Here's what I would say to you.
Yeah.
The IRA committed a series of atrocities over numerous decades. They targeted, in their eyes, military and political targets. They usually gave some form of warning, not always.
Okay.
They
were terrorists.
No, they were terrorists.
Sure.
They never, ever went out one day and committed the barbaric slaughter of 1,300...
Irrelevant.
No.
If they did.
Sorry, it's not irrelevant.
If they did.
No, Mohammed.
They did.
Here's why it's not irrelevant.
Okay.
They never did.
But if they did, would you accept the RAF to flatten
by the way,
Belfast?
There were outrages committed by
the
loyalist parliamentaries too.
My question is,
here's my point.
They did, would you think it's acceptable?
They never came close to committing an outrage on that scale.
If they did, is it acceptable
they
to
never
flatten
went
Belfast?
in and kidnapped grandmothers or killed babies in cribs.
Is it acceptable or not?
They believe they were fighting for better or worse, and I believe for worse, and that's why I'm glad peace was found. They believe they were fighting political and military targets.
I'm trying to bring it closer to home to you.
You're trying to compare apples and oranges.
No, I'm not.
Yes, you are.
It's you that's doing that.
The only comparison that I would say that we saw from October the 7th and what Hamas did is with ISIS.
Excuse me.
That's the only comparison.
Do you mind if let me ask you a question. A Palestinian...
And ISIS were taken out, by the way, with planes...
Me.
No, here's my...
You didn't do this with the ambassador.
I'm going to finish
You did this with Ben Shapiro, which you gave the show to him.
No, hang on. I'm giving you plenty of time.
No, you're not.
I'm giving you plenty. You asked about the analogy of a plane flying over and targeting...
But you didn't answer my question.
But that did happen, Mohammed, with ISIS.
Would you accept Belfast to be flattened
wait a minute.
or not? Yes or no?
Wait a minute. It never happened, so the like for like isn't
relevant. It's a hypothesis. It's hypothetical.
It's not. I don't do hypotheticals.
You don't do hypotheticals?
No, let's deal with reality.
Okay, let's deal with reality.
Mohammed, let me finish. Then you can answer.
So you don't want to answer the question?
No. Here's the reality.
British public can see this.
Here's the reality, right?
British public can see this.
Yeah, they can see it.
Yeah, go on.
They listen to the debate.
Keep going.
Right? For what it's worth, I think it's a good debate to have. Right? These are questions many people on the pro-Palestinian side are having. I get it. Right? But you're trying to compare what happened on October the 7th with the IRA.
No, I'm not. I used a hypothetical
wait a minute, Mum.
question.
I'm comparing it to ISIS. And the way that the
compare it to
world
ISIS.
in the end dealt with ISIS actually was to use airstrikes. And many civilians were killed.
There's a huge difference
Many innocent
between the
people
two,
died.
which you're not,
They're not.
You don't understand it because you have no idea of the religious
What's the difference between what happened on October the 7th and ISIS?
The difference between the Palestinian resistance is the following, okay? Any kind of thing which has Palestinian resistance attached to it, and ISIS, which is a brand of takfirism, okay, is that ISIS is just one of many brands of takfirism.
تكفيرزم. اوكي مشكلة ما في كلمة انجليزية للجملة هذه، بس حط كل الاي اس ام ازم. اوكي داعش تكفيرين يعني، هي مجرد واحدة من العديد من العلامات. اوكي الترجمة هنا شوي ملخبطة.
As a brand of takfirism, okay, is that ISIS is just one of many brands of takfirism, which you don't know what it is, which is a kind of excommunication type heresiological Islamic sect, okay? So if there's
It's nihilistic mass murder. That's all they care about.
Listen, I know what you're saying, but I'm saying something else.
You agree with me, don't you?
I do, but of course I do, but you're not understanding what I'm saying, so I'm trying to break it down.
I am understanding what you're saying.
What I'm saying is that anything...
And I'm not anti-Palestinian, by the way.
Sure, Piers, but...
Over the many years, if you bothered to check what I said about it, I have always tried to shine a light on the plight of the Palestinians.
Allow me to speak, please, because you're just talking over me. The difference between the two are the following, right? Even if we assume that the killing of combatants in most definitions of terrorism is something which brings someone to be a terrorist, okay? I would say that if that is the case, then the state of Israel breaks that threshold and meets that condition. Because why is Israel not a state terrorist? If their highest officials are admitting that we want damage and not accuracy. Answer me this question. Why is the state of Israel, who are illegally occupying Gaza and the West Bank according to international law, and even the ICJ said that, okay, which is, as you know, an organ of the UN, all right? So this is international law. They're occupying, they're seizing, they're bombarding.
صحيح. والمسؤولين في الحكومة، حكومة الكيان، قاعد يقولوا احنا حنساوي الأرض باللي فيها، راح نمسح المدينة، راح لين ما نطلعهم. ما قاعد يقول انه راح مثلا راح نرسل فريق قوات خاصة مثلا وتفتش عليهم، يخش جوا المدينة وتفتش عليهم وتستأصلهم. نو قاعد يقول راح نمسح المدينة. فهمت علي؟ فإذا الكلام هذا طلع من شخص رسمي مسؤول يمثل الحكومة، هذا شرط كافي، شرط وحيد كافي وافي انه يخلي الحكومة كلها حكومة إرهابية. صح ولا لا؟ هذا قاعد يحاول يوصله محمد حجاب so far.
International law. They're occupying, they're seizing, they're bombarding, they're indiscriminately killing, and they're blocking the supply lines. They're using white phosphorus. They're doing what you call mowing the grass, which is every couple of years, every few years, they're killing the Palestinian people.
Let me ask,
I want to understand what differentiates an Israeli in the sky pressing a button, killing the civilians, from somebody in any terrorist organization shooting the people. What differentiates it?
Israel.
للأسف السؤال هذا انذكر قبل شوي. السؤال هذا ايش اللي يفرق بين اللي قاعد يضغط على الزر حق الصواريخ من فوق وفي الطيارة، قصده في السماء اللي تحت، فهمت عليه، ويمسح نص المدينة أو الحي مثلا. إيش الفرق بين هذا والإرهابيين؟ السؤال هذا نذكر لما كنا هنا، صح؟ درنا نفس الشيء، رجعنا لهذا. الحين هل راح يجيب السؤال ولا راح يقول له إيش تبغى إسرائيل؟ إيش هو الرد المناسب؟ حفظت الكلمة proportionate response، الرد المناسب اللي تسويه إسرائيل. إيش هي الطريقة لو أنت إسرائيلي إيش بتسوي عشان ترد الرد المناسب؟ لو عادة إحنا كده ضيعنا وقتنا.
Israel will say it has a right to defend itself.
So will the terrorists.
Right?
That's what Osama bin Laden said.
And they will.
That's exactly Osama bin Laden's argument.
No, it's not though.
Yes,
Hamas,
it is. I read his fatwas.
Hamas aren't defending themselves. Bin Laden wasn't defending himself.
Define defense.
Bin Laden was trying to kill as many of the enemy as possible.
Let me ask you a question. How could it be that an occupier is defending itself in the first place? The notion that Israel is defending itself is as absurd as the notion that the rapist is defending itself from the victim. Because Israel is the occupier.
You haven't asked
hold
me.
on, hold on.
Yeah, but
Excuse me, let me finish. Just let me finish. An occupier by international law definition means that they are already in an offensive posture. If they're in an offensive posture, if someone brings you to Piers Morgan, grabs you by the thing, throws you into your bathroom, yeah? You're in your bathroom, you're screaming and they're eating food, having a good time. One day you come out of your bathroom, you try and fight one of them, who's defending who from who?
Mohammed,
Who's self-defend? How can you self-defend when you're occupying? Answer me this question.
Let me
please.
speak now.
No, but answer the question.
Let me speak.
Answer the question first.
Fine, I'm going to speak.
Yeah.
Let me answer.
Yeah.
I believe that Israel's made a number of bad choices.
That's not answering my question.
Wait.
يا الله يا الله. خلني أكمل عنه. أنا أؤمن إنه إسرائيل سوت خيارات سيئة، عدد من الخيارات السيئة، وهذا ليس إجابة على سؤالي. سؤالي هو إيش هو الرد المناسب؟ مين يتحدى إن راح يقول كذا؟
I'm telling you what I think.
You don't answer my question.
Telling you what I think.
Sure, go ahead.
Okay?
محمد حجاب لازم يسكت، ها؟ لازم حجاب لازم يسكت.
That's not answering my question.
Wait. I'm telling you what I think.
You don't answer my question.
Telling you what I think.
Sure, go ahead.
Okay?
بالضبط، وأنا بدأ بالعراق بيرجع مرة ثانية. يا رب محمد حجاب ما يقاطع لأنه قاعد يخرب على شو اسمه على بيرس في جوابه، فبيرجع لنقطة الصفر في الكلام.
I don't think Israel's been perfect at all. Right?
You should have had the moral high ground.
I think a lot of the decisions Israel's taken are wrong. I think Benjamin Netanyahu, by the way, his attempts to usurp the power of the Supreme Court this year in Israel has been a complete disaster.
Do you condemn them
right?
from killing civilians or not?
I do not. I will defend them this week.
Yes or no?
Wait.
Yes or no?
I will.
سأدافع عنهم هذا الأسبوع فقط. كثر خيرك، كثر خيرك، وجعلك ذخرا يا بيرس مورغان.
Civilians or not?
I do not. I will defend them this week.
Yes or no?
Wait.
Yes or no?
I will defend them this week in defending themselves against one of the worst terror attacks ever.
So you can kill civilians.
اوكي انا الاسبوع هذا بيكون اوكي. ممكن قاعد يستعمل يعني ديفلز ادفوكيت، محامي الشيطان. الاسبوع هذا كله انا بكون محامي الشيطان وبكون في جهة اسرائيل، وراح اجيب فقط اللي مناصرين للجهة الفلسطينية، صح؟ اوكي محمد حجاب ما وصلت للفكرة أظن، والله أعلم. هذا اللي قاعد يحاول يسويه بيرس مورغان، لأنه ما ينفع يكون مع القضية الفلسطينية ويجيب بس فلسطينيين. فهمت علي؟ كذا ما راح يكون صحفي باحث للحقيقة. فهمت علي؟ if that makes sense. شفت الصحفي اللي كله كذا في جهة واحدة، ما يبغى يثير الجدل، ما يبغى هذا. مرة واحدة أنا مع الفلسطينيين. أوكي، قال الأسبوع هذا بكون مع جانب الكيان، وعشان كذا أنا قاعد أجيبك أنت وغيرك عشان تدافع عن نفسكم. والهدف مو إنه أنا آمن يعني أصدق، الهدف إنه المشاهد يسمع الجهتين ويحكم عقله أي جهة هي الصح. والله أعلم.
This week in defending themselves against one of the worst.
إيش رأيكم في كلامي؟ وصلت المعلومة الفكرة إنه حاب إنه يكون معهم؟
terror attacks ever.
So you can kill civilians for that?
You can target Hamas.
Can you target? No, hold on.
And if Hamas, the controlling, governing, ruling body in Gaza, hide amongst the public,
this is a false.
Members of the public will die.
You're talking about fallacies. This is called the Moat and Bailey fallacy, which is that you're trying to defend one controversial idea by using another. It's Moat and Bailey fallacy. You can check it up on your own time. The point is this. I'm not asking you whether Israel has a right to defend itself. We've already said of the logical and legal impossibility. The logical and legal impossibility of an occupying power, according to international law, of actually defending itself because it's already. Let me finish. It's already in an offensive posture. Now I'm saying this. If it is the case, you're just saying it's defending itself against Hamas. Is the only way to defend itself against Hamas by dropping bombs in the most densely populated area, one of the most densely populated areas in the world? Is that the only way? It's a false dichotomy, creating a false dichotomy. They could do surgery, they can do insurrection. They can go in and they can target
We're going to take
Hamas.
a short break. I'm going to keep you here. I want to finish this. I want to give you the time. I think it's an important debate, an important conversation.
Sure. But you have to answer my questions.
I will. We'll come back. Yeah, but actually you have to answer mine. It's my show. actually.
I can answer you.
For the record, you can ask me as many questions as you want, but I'll tell you what I think.
I've answered all your
We're going
questions.
to take a short break. We're going to come back and we're going to finish with a few more minutes, okay? Welcome back to Piers Morgan says, well, Mohammed Hijab is still with me. Mohammed, we've had a lively debate. I knew it would be a lively debate. This is a very important issue. It's a passionate issue. People on both sides. You know, if I tweet about anything, doesn't matter what I say. One side, if I'm even remotely sympathetic to them, the other side, poor abuse and vice versa and so on. Let's try and cut through it all and get to what happens here. How do we find peace in the Middle East? I've been covering Israel-Palestine since I've been a journalist, 3 decades. And it seems to me we're as far away now as we've ever been. How do you think we get to a place of peace?
You'll be surprised. Look, even Hamas, some 4 or 5 years ago, they even agreed to the 1967 lines, the borders. And what you have to understand, that this cannot be scapegoated on Hamas, because before Hamas's existence, this was still going on. This was going on before Israel's existence.
But do you believe in a two-state solution?
No, I believe in... Look, even Hamas was proposing a two-state solution.
But do you believe in it?
Look, there's advantages and disadvantages. This is different. I don't know. I mean, it's a difficult one. I'll be honest.
Could you imagine 2 states next to each other living in peace?
هل تستطيع التخيل حل الدولتين بجانب بعضهم البعض تعيشان بالسلام؟ Yes or no. 1967 حدود 67. هذه الحدود اللي العالم كله حتى الليدرز حق الشرق الأوسط قاعدين يحاولوا يرجعوها. خارطة 67. ترى ما حد قاعد يطلب انه الإسرائيليين يتفكفكوا وكل واحد يرجع بيته. فهمت علي؟ حاليا حتى 67 صعبة ترى. فهمت علي؟ حاليا حتى خريطة 67 شبه مستحيلة. فهمت علي؟ بالذات بعد يوم 17 هذه تقريبا هذه اللي عملت الفول ستوب او نقطة على السطر في الموضوع هذا. طيب هو من آداب المهنة انك تقاطع طرف معين، تتهرب من اسئلته وتدي الطرف الثاني كل مساحة وتوافق على كل كلمة. فاهم عليك. بس احنا ترى ما على الورق، فهمت علي؟ كشعوب قاعد نضغط، يعني قاعد نطالب بشيء شبه مستحيل انه يصير. فهمت علي؟ انك انك تشيل. فهمت علي؟ لانه خريطة 67 فيها القدس الشرقية، صح؟ عاصمة فلسطين. الغربية بتكون عاصمة اوكي ممكن نشيك على الخريطة بعدين. فهمت علي؟ بس يعني قاداتنا كلهم، فهمت علي؟ قاعدين يطالبوا بخريطة 67 just to make shit straight. يعني فهمت علي؟ انه يكون واضح للكل. ما حد قاعد يطلب خريطة 47 ولا عرفت 45. نو. ايش بيجاوب؟ ما اظن هو قال صعبة، قال الموضوع صعب 67.
Could you imagine 2 states next to each other living in peace? Palestine, Israel.
Look, it's a possibility. I mean, as I say, even Hamas was saying that that's a possibility. I mean, this was 4 years ago. But what I want to bring to your attention is that nothing can happen if the international body or the UN becomes a toothless agency. In 2018 to 19, when actually 221 people were killed on a peaceful protest in Gaza. It was called the Great March of Gaza. 220 people died. Hamas didn't shoot a bullet. No rocket was launched, yeah? So 220 people died, and this is even mentioned by the UN and these kind of agencies. They tried to bring it up, the Palestinian Authority, they tried to bring this up to what we call the ICJ, which is part of the UN, okay? What happened is the Donald Trump administration, they threatened to freeze the assets of the ICJ, which tells you the following. What are the Palestinian people to do? Because the fact of the matter is, if they try and bring it up...
Let me ask you...
let me finish the point. Let me finish the point. If they try and bring it up...
We're running out of time, that's why I'm jumping in.
But if they try and bring it up to international law, it's thwarted.
I do think
international law matters.
Sure. I just don't believe that any peace can be achieved with Hamas in charge? Do you?
Before Hamas,
Now,
there was
after what happened last weekend.
forget about last weekend. Last weekend is
Can't forget about last weekend.
no, it's not. Before last weekend, before Hamas in 1987, this was still going on.
But not on this scale. And
Worse.
No, it wasn't
were-
as bad as this.
What are you talking about?
What happened on October the 7th
that shows ignorance
was
of
the
history.
single worst assault on a
By
populace
Yom
since
Kippur.
9/11. It
No,
was.
Yom Kippur War was 2,600 people died, by the way. 1973. That's false.
In one day,
In one day, I don't know, about 600 people died in one day.
Mohammed,
Ariel Sharon said
I've got to leave it there. We've run out of time. I gave you more time than I planned to. I hope you appreciate that.
Thank you
And I
very much.
appreciate you coming in.
اوكي مقابلة فيها عادات كثيرة، لكن اوكي ما احنا بنحلم بحاجة كبيرة عشان شايفين انه ما فيش حاجة ممكنة او حاجة تقول انه ممكن يبقى في نسبة 1% عدل. ترى يعني احنا قاعد نتكلم غزة حماس ومدري ايش. ترى غزة هذه لحالة حكومة، ترى في عندك حكومة ثانية الجهة الثانية، فاوريدي احنا مقسمين، فهمت علي؟ فعشان نوصل عشان نقعد في طاولة انه نتكلم عن 67 مثلا اللي هي اقل، يعني اقل ضرر، يعني ايش هو افضل للسوء، افضل الخيارات السيئة. لازم اول شيء يكون في حكومة موحدة، صح ولا لا؟ وياما في يعني حكومات حاولت تصلح بينهم برضو يرجعوا يتضاربوا وما ادري ايش، فهمت علي؟ وسهل بيكون سهل على الكيان انه مثلا يهدد جهة،